Okay, if I look at 13, this isn't going to have the I squared though yet. Okay, so look, I have 8 quantity times quantity negative 1 minus 6i. All right, so I was walking around. Some of you moved on because you understood this is just a straight distributive property where you would just multiply. So 8 times negative 1 is negative 8. 8 times negative 6i is negative 48i, and that is it. You're quiet. Oh wait, that's what I'm recording. This one.
We haven't thrown the
So that's it. Multiply. Okay. All right. If I move on to 14, now it switches. So now we're going to get the I squared. All right. They have parentheses around your negative 5i. They're just being polite, right? They didn't have to. They could have not had it there. You're going to take this negative 5i and you're going to multiply it to the negative 4 real number, and you're going to multiply it to the positive 3i imaginary part. Keep going. Okay, so I get a negative times the negative is a positive. 5 times 4 is 20. So all I do is take care of the integers, right? The coefficient and the real. And now I have an I, no I, so it's only one I there. So far, so good? Okay, next distribution, right? Next multiplication. A negative times a positive is a negative. 5 times 3 is 15. I times I times I, you add. And so it becomes I squared. I squared. Kind of like x times x is a squared, a times a is a squared, right? All right, but as you see from this highlighted yellow, I squared is the equivalent to negative 1, and so you can just substitute. So instead of this I squared, I'm going to throw in a negative 1. And so what I end up with, what's a negative 15 times a negative 1? Multiplying. Yeah, so I end up with positive 15. This is going to be positive 15. This is now a real number. So now it's going to go in the front like a plus bi. And so this is your answer. So the 20i is not being messed with. It's the imaginary component. That's going to go to the back because imaginary comes second to the real component. So negative 15i squared can be substituted for negative 1. Negative 15 times negative 1 is positive 15. That is now a real number, so it shoots to the front because the real component always comes before the imaginary. That's it. So what do students always remember? When they get an I squared, they just switch the sign. Okay, so if I look at 15, no distribution, just a straight multiplication. A negative times a negative is a positive. 3 times 3 is 9. I times I squared. But what am I going to have as my final answer? Yes, negative 9. Because this will become my negative 1, and so positive 9 times negative 1 is negative 9. And by the way, if you want to write extra and do this, then absolutely, whoops, you can see, absolutely go ahead and do that. And you can show the substitution. That's it. Okay, just because I don't want this to go too long, let me pause it, and then I'm going to do a foiling. Well, you know, the next type of multiplying. Where's my mouse?